Hi everyone, welcome back to David Let Go to Hobbies. Right, I'm going to make one of these today. It's a copper bracelet for my arthritis. Now, anyone that does DIY, you've got to be safety conscious. You need to have a fire extinguisher to hand, preferably a dry powder or ABC type of fires. I'm using butane propane gas mix with a blowtorch. Yeah, the rest of the bottles here. So it's pressurized gas. You've got to be very careful. You're working with an open flame, inflammable liquids, which is the propane liquid gas inside the container, which is pressurized. Okay, obviously you'll be touching hot items. You need somewhere to quench your water, quench your copper in plastic container. Cold water, it doesn't leak, and you need the top wide enough so you can dip your copper in once you've heated it up. Right, now obviously the other things you'll need: pair of gloves, suitable gloves if you doing DIY, safety glasses just in case you get splashed in the face with hot water. Right, gloves, preferably something like thermal gloves, just in case, because you're handling hot items and you don't want to burn yourself. Anything that's flammable, like hand gel, which is flammable and toxic to the environment. If you see the two warning triangles or hazardous substances, whatever you're doing, always take precautions. Right. Always read the labels, what stuff you're dealing with. This is highly flammable. Okay, you need to do it where you're working safely, not to be distracted by children or pets. So somewhere which is a controlled environment. That's the first thing. And the next thing is obviously your own safety. Okay, don't start doing anything and get distracted, having a mobile phone, watching TV, listening to a video. Yeah, those sort of things. But if you're listening to this video, watch it before you do it. All right, learn what I'm doing before you do it. That way I'll make it in sections so you can understand. This is the briefing, this is the safety aspect of making what I'm going to make, and that is a copper bracelet for my arthritis. Okay, all that is made out of is 15mm copper pipe. But you've got to remember, when you're cutting this stuff, if you're cutting it or you've got a piece already 6 inches long, right, is the ends are going to be very sharp. So you cut your fingers open, you cut hand open, right, and also the other end could have a burr on it. Yeah, so ideally you need the right tools to take that sharpness off. Ideally a file, some sandpaper, emery paper probably better. The things you will need is a tape measure to measure the length, something to ignite the gas coming out the blowtorch, a fire extinguisher, which I've already got. Keeping things like this, flammable items and toxic to marine and aquatic life, well away from the flame, and you don't have it anywhere near where you're working, so you put it well away. Your work area, yeah, is it clean? Is it free from debris? You've got a safe working environment. I've got a butane gas refiller for my Dremel little blowtorch. That is stored out the way because that is pressurized flammable gases. So you put that well away from where you're working. Tools you might need. Okay, you will need something to cut your copper pipe with. Ideally, let me just find where I've put it and I will show you it. Here it is. Right, a pipe cutter. This is my pipe cutter. It is a very good one. You can see that. I bought this some time ago, probably about 50 quid. I can't remember what price it is. And one of these is a deburring tool. You can use a bit of sandpaper to take the, or a file, a round file to take the burr off, but on a flat file to take the outside edge of the burr off the pipe. Also, you will need some long nose pliers to hold it, so you are not actually physically touching the pipe when you've heated it up. Okay. Now, what else could you do with a file? A flat file, okay, steel files, not wood files. A round file for taking the burr off inside the copper pipe. Okay, sort of things you will need. I don't need that, and I'll tell you for why. I've got this tool. What that is, it's got a cone inside, if you can see that. That takes the inside burr off your copper pipe, and that one has got a reverse cone. If you can see it and catch the light better, yeah, just about. That will take the outside burr off, and it is very, I think I paid about 50 quid for it, but it's, you get what you pay for. Okay, I used to make copper pyramids, and while I was making those copper pyramids, I funded my tools by what I sold. So I bought my tools out of the profits I made. I didn't really make any profit. It was just reinvested into buying tools and to be able to do the job better. And it was my passion and my love. So I love hobbies. So for you to do anything like this, it's better to understand what you're going to do before you do it. So any questions and you're not sure of, let me know in the comments below. But this is just the basic setup for making a copper bracelet for your wrist. Okay, lengthwise, as I said, probably be about 6 inches. This is what I measured around my wrist. You need to measure from one side all the way around to the other side. You need about that much gap, right? About an inch gap, or 30mm, or 25 to 30mm gap, which is 2.5 to 3 centimeters, okay, in new money. So also you will need 2 bits of wood. All right, why do you need 2 bits of wood? So you, and a vise, by the way, so you can squash the pipe together so it will flatten it, so you can basically get it to the shape you require for making yourself a copper bracelet. What I done was, basically, it's about 4 inches long, 100mm, yeah, or 10 centimeters. Just 2 odd scrap bits of wood, or 1 scrap bit of wood I cut down and made 2 bits. What I've done, I filed that edge off a little bit, and the edge of that one, so when I come to squash it together in the vise, it's not going to leave any marks on the copper, which you don't really want to do. It ain't going to make a lot of difference, because obviously end of the day you're not going to really super duper polish it up. All you're going to do is have its effectiveness of copper on the skin to try and alleviate the arthritis in your body. It works for me, it will work for you. Give it a go and see what you think. Right, that has been said, I think I've covered all the basic stuff. Just to re-emphasize, make sure you've got no other flammable liquids or gases near your work area. Make sure you've got a fire extinguisher. Make sure you've got water. Make sure you've got no kids or animals near you when you're working. You need to be in a controlled environment. Right? Have the tools in a place where you can easily access them. Right? And also don't have distractions that will interfere with what you're doing. Think about before you do it. Think how you're going to do it, what you want to achieve by it. If you're going to do something that's going to cause you harm, don't do it. Think about a way you can do it without going to cause you harm. That means sharp edges, okay? And when you're cutting things, you might need to cut a piece of copper down, right? Or you might be able to get a scrap bit of copper, preferably not painted. Doesn't have to be new, right? Can be an old bit of copper, 15mm copper, that's all that is. Yeah, 15mm. The reason why I'm using 15mm, because when I squashed it together, that's what I get. It becomes wider. If you can see that, it becomes wider than the actual copper tube. The reason being for that is you're squashing it down, so it expands to its full width. Okay, so basically you're squashing it. Right, I think that's covered it all. As I say, you need a tape measure, water, a blowtorch. Where you're working, make sure you're not pointing the blowtorch at anything inflammable, anything that's hanging down that could catch fire. Think about where that blowtorch is standing on a flat surface, not covered with bits and pieces, because if that falls over, it could set your house afire, or set your shed afire, or set your garage on fire. Remember, safety is paramount. Think about it. Safety, safety, safety. In doubt, ask a question, Google it, right? If you're not sure, leave me a comment and I'll do my best to help you. I'm not perfect, right? This is the way I look at doing a job, right? About your own safety, other people's safety, yeah, your pets, your children, your wife, your family. All this takes account of what you're going to do and how you do it. Okay, prevention's better than a cure. And if you cut yourself, yeah, little things that come to hand, have a first aid kit. If you're working in the garage, tell someone what you're doing so they can know what to do in an emergency. Right, you will tell them what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, yeah? If I bang on the wall, right, come out and see me. Prevention's better than a cure. All right, but you need to be reasonably competent of what you're doing. You can't do this sort of thing if you're not a DIYer, a person that is very old and frail, or very young. This is for a job. This type of work is a person of any age, within reason and sensibility. You wouldn't give a child a naked flame to play with. You wouldn't give an elderly person a naked flame to play with, because he wouldn't be able to hold it properly and probably overshakes his hands. You wouldn't give it to a child. Why? Because they're too young. They're not responsible. Yes, when they get to a reasonable age, you can supervise them. Prevention's better than a cure. Okay, that being said, we will begin in the next video. So this is the safety briefing about making your copper bracelet. So any questions? I think I've covered it all. Last thing, work in an environment which is safe and sheltered from the weather. You don't want to do this outside. Okay, you don't, because it's going to be wet. The weather can affect the blowtorch, things can fall over. Remember what I just said, prevention's better than a cure. You do this at your own risk, but I'm trying to make sure it covers all the safety aspects first. All right, knowing what you're doing, how you do it, so on and so forth. Right, I think I've talked too much. Now, that being said, thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Any comments, as I say, leave them down below, and please subscribe to hear videos like this and more of them. Thank you, take care, see you soon.